everybody is going to Mongolia instead of sitting with lovely girlfriend, wife. I think you're crazy that you're going there. Okay.
Hello, my name's Rich, and in this film I'm going to tell you my story of the summer of 2008, when myself and my friend Ed attempted to drive halfway across the world in a really crap car. You can see Ed and me here. He's the one driving, while I'm in the passenger seat. Ed and I have been mates for a decade. We first met at uni, where we bonded over a shared love of loud music, curry and good times. Like most university students, Ed and I both ended up graduating and drifting into vaguely sensible jobs. But neither of us ever fell into the trap of becoming proper grown-ups. On one day in the autumn of 2007, Ed got in touch to ask if I'd be up for doing something called the Mongol Rally. If you haven't heard of it, the Mongol Rally basically involves attempting to drive all the way from England to Mongolia, about 8,000 miles from the UK as the crow flies. Of course, driving all that way is a ridiculous undertaking. So naturally, as soon as Ed suggested doing it, I agreed it was a brilliant idea. The two of us duly looked into it a bit more. We discovered that the Mongol Rally is not a race and that there's no set route. The only real rules are to do the trip in a vehicle completely unsuitable for the pothole-ridden roads of Central Asia and to raise a load of cash for charity. Oh, and to have an amazing adventure. Within days, we'd signed up. The Mongol Rally launch event saw Ed and I join several hundred other intrepid idiots at Hyde Park in London, where the plan was for everyone to set off in convoy. But just getting ourselves to the start line had involved months of preparation. Among many other things, we'd had to arrange time off work with our respective employers, acquire a suitable vehicle and get it pimped up into a rally car, drum up coverage in the local media where we live to get people to sponsor us for charity, get vaccines to protect us from various unpleasant diseases, vaguely plan a route, and apply for entry visas for some of the countries we knew we'd need to pass through. Probably the biggest challenge though was convincing our friends and family that we weren't insane. With our complete lack of mechanical knowledge, most people told us we had no chance of making it to Mongolia. Although as you can see from this TV interview Ed and I gave at the launch event, the two of us were in confident spirits.
So why are you actually doing this?
Why we're doing it? We're doing it to raise money for charity. There's two charities, the Christine Noble Children's Foundation and Mercy Corps Mongolia. Both help out the communities in Mongolia. We've raised over £2,000 for them, and so obviously mainly it's for charity, but secondly it's for a hell of an adventure.
And we're doing it in this, which is obviously an entirely suitable vehicle for the terrain we will be encountering. A Peugeot 106, well known for being able to handle the rugged roads of Central Asia. Yeah, we're confident it's going to be fun. We hope we at least make it to Dover anyway, because it'd be really embarrassing after bigging this up for so long if we just fall flat on our faces and don't even make it out of the country.
So what are you taking with you?
Oh, we've got absolutely all sorts of things. I mean, the car is absolutely rammed. We've got lots and lots of essential things, and some things that probably arguably aren't essential, such as a cafetiere, because, you know, we're supposed to be roughing it, but you can't rough it without proper coffee as far as I'm concerned. Then we've got other essentials such as gaffer tape and some pot noodles. What else have we got?
We've got a football and a spade, which will probably come in handy. I think we've got a couple of spanners and some engine oil.
What do you think is the most essential part of the kit you're taking?
Probably the most essential part is
the cafetiere.
The cafetiere, or well, possibly the car. Without the car, I don't think we'll be able to make it.
So how are you going to get back then?
Don't know yet. Probably flying. I've been thinking about maybe the Trans-Siberian Railway and going over land, but I don't know, we're winging it.
And how are you going to work out who does the driving?
We've got a coin called the dollar of decision, which we will toss at various points on the journey. It has been tossed once this morning, and it's been decided that I'm doing the first leg, driving down to Dover. We're going to be leaving London via Trafalgar Square, so we'll do a lap of Nelson's Column before heading on to Dover to catch our 6 o'clock ferry, hopefully.
We eventually crawled our way out of Hyde Park, and after passing Buckingham Palace and making our way out of London, we hit the road to Dover.
Technically the first border crossing as we prepare to check in onto our ferry in Dover. So it's about 9:30 on Saturday evening, France time. We're in France. This is my first stint at driving on the Mongol Rally, having done the first bit from London. And this is actually the first time I have driven on the wrong side of the road, ever. And it's quite exciting, actually. I think as well that we need to show our tremendous car stereo system here, which, owing to the fact that the actual stereo just doesn't work, we have this mighty ghetto blaster currently playing the seminal Manson LP, Attack of the Great Lantern.
Having fallen into convoy with another rally team who were doing the rally in an ambulance, we powered on into the night, crossing borders into Belgium, the Netherlands, and then finally Germany, where we decided to call it a night and camp up by the side of a road. So day 2 of the rally started with us jump-starting the ambulance and then powering on into Germany for a crack at a famous motor racing circuit.
This is how decadent we're being on the Mongol Rally. We are having for breakfast some very, very fine olives.
And this is the view of Rich driving from behind. And Felipe Massa at the moment, though.
We have conquered the Nürburgring. It was amazing. We went in convoy with a mighty Gobi ambulance. What's more, we've actually been barred from the Nürburgring. We were told never to come back because we pulled over to let the ambulance catch up with us, and they took a very dim view to it. We managed to get away with it by blagging that we thought one of our hubcaps had come off. But the guys, these 2 men with very, very impressive moustaches said, just don't ever fucking come back here again. But it was a tremendous experience.
After conquering the Nürburgring, we pressed on for the Czech Republic, as the Mongol Rally organisers were holding an official party for all the rally teams in a castle in the middle of the Czech countryside.
We're at the German service station where we're just admiring the selection of CDs, which explain why this is your favourite.
A truck.
It's got to be the truck. It's all about trucking, isn't it? Breaker 19. Now got enough oil to hopefully last us all, I'd say, the next half a day or so, the amount of oil we're getting through due to the dripping coming from our car. And I also decided to buy the most German looking thing I could find, which is this. Who's drive on? Fucking keep going. And so it is, Mr. Baker, that we arrive in the Czech Republic.
At last.
Now, I don't know about you, mate, but I was a bit disappointed by that. I was hoping we might get stopped and searched or something. But what do you make of that border crossing?
I'm glad we didn't have to stop the car. At the moment, you might be able to hear on the video, it's not sounding its sparkly best.
By the end of the day, we'd made it to Klanova in the Czech Republic, where the Mongol Rally party was taking place. Having driven over 800 miles in 2 days, we were up for letting our hair down with some other rally teams, so we threw up our tent and got stuck into the party. We ended up drinking absinthe, and it all got very messy.
Still feeling a bit rough from the Czech party last night. This trip is all about broadening our horizons, experiencing different cultures, but sometimes when you're really, really hungover, the only thing that would do in the way of sustenance is a Mackie D. So here we are. Ed, tell us what you've got.
I've got the chicken meat,
Ed's got...
which is actually quite nice. Don't know what the sauce is, but yeah, it's going down very well.
What's the chicken ming involve exactly?
Some sort of ancient sauce, possibly mango. But it is very nice, and it's curing the absinthe-fueled hangover.
Excellent.
That I'm currently suffering.
Loaded up on Mackie D's, we hit the road again. Our plan was to continue across the Czech Republic, drop into Slovakia, and then cross another border into Hungary, making it to the Hungarian capital of Budapest by the end of the day.
Probably our last stop in the Czech Republic before we cross the border into Slovakia. And we've got possibly the least Czech thing we've ever seen, a really, really big Tesco. And we've also been breaking the law, haven't we?
We're supposed to have got a licence, apparently, which was going to cost us about 15 quid. We heard that a team had got stopped earlier for not having one, but we've managed to get to probably within about 10 miles from the Slovakia border, and we still haven't bought one, so hopefully we won't get stopped.
Yeah, but we've stuck it to the man, haven't we? We don't need any fucking rip-off £15 motorway permit. Although now we've said this, we're probably tempted fate, and
we'll probably get stopped at the border.
Yeah, but no, Czech Republic's been good, hasn't it, mate?
Yeah, it's been fun. It's been fun.
Yeah.
We pulled by the sleeve.
Wow, breaking the law. Now, we fucking deserve that, don't we, mate, to be honest? Because we made a film about, what was it, all of 20 minutes ago, saying we're just about to escape the Czech Republic without having not had a highway pass, which we've known about for quite some time. And we thought, fuck it, let's try and get away with it. Lo and behold, we just get pulled over by the police, seemingly on a random spot check basis, although they probably clocked that we're a rally car and thought we're fair game. However, very, very lovely Czech policewoman, we tell her that we're doing this to raise money for charity, and she's let us off.
I'm pleased to say we managed to escape the Czech Republic without any further drama.
Let's keep going. Yeah, another border crossing. We are now in Slovakia. Ed, what have you got to say about Slovakia? First impressions?
It's very much the same as the Czech Republic at the moment, but hopefully we don't have to pay to use these roads. I'm not sure whether we're actually supposed to stop at that border crossing back there. It did look fairly official, but we drove straight past. So I'll keep an eye on my wing mirror down here for the blue flashing lights for the feds that are probably going to come and chase us down.
Continuing to make good progress, we crossed the border into Hungary, but the car wasn't sounding too healthy.
Very close to Budapest, however the car isn't making very healthy noises in the kind of gearbox region. Check this out.
now it's getting dark. We're on the side of a road somewhere outside of Budapest. Our car is buggered. The Mongol Rally, it could be game over for us, but if it is, we're going to be going out on a bang. We are sat here having possibly the most decadent meal that anyone has ever had, cooking with 2 camping stoves on a pretty soulless petrol station forecourt in Hungary. Now, we've joined forces with the 2 guys who are, in our eyes, are already Mongol Rally legends. These are the Swiss Hornets. They just very casually, as if it's a completely normal thing to do, started cooking here on this camp stove. They're making some spaghetti. We've just decided to join forces, so we've thrown in a few things into the mix. We've got some tea lights for a bit of ambience. We've got tomato soup on the go here, which is, Ed is just giving a stir now. Ed, are you looking forward to the meal?
Absolutely, I'm starving, and it looks fantastic.
And there's our car over there. We rang the European breakdown cover, which cost us £1 for a whole month's cover, about half an hour ago. They are going to be coming hopefully in the next hour and a half, we are told, if they can find us. Our description was admittedly a bit vague as to where we are. We are by a road somewhere outside of Budapest, but we shall see, and hopefully... Oh, what's... Hang on, we've got fire, Whoa! Amazingly, the rally car makes its triumphant arrival in Budapest without even using any petrol. Well, at least not ours. Bit of a shaky camera there, but you know, this isn't long way round. We don't have a technical camera support crew. And so our car arrives at the Peugeot garage. Hopefully not going to cost us an absolute arm and leg to get back on the road tomorrow, but you know, in the meantime, having thought we'd arrive in Budapest before dark, and it's now sort of around midnight and we're just shattered, we're just going to sleep and worry about it tomorrow. Day 4 of the rally. First couple of nights on the road saw us camping. This morning, however, Ed and I awoke in a basic but, you know, pretty functional and acceptable hotel room in downtown Budapest in Hungary, where we arrived last night. We've got to go and face the music, really. We've got to go to the Peugeot garage where the car was left last night and see if they can actually fix it. Hopefully they will be able to, and we'll be able to continue on our way at some point.
Let's have a look what's through the square window. We've got our Burgundy Beast, and it's being fixed, hopefully, by a man with a fag on in the garage, which is always good.
Now, Ed, tell us what we've got here.
Here in my hand I have 80,000 Hungarian florins.
Which makes us sound really rich, but how much is it actually?
It's about 250 quid, with which we're going to buy a new gearbox, and hopefully we should be on our way sometime later on this afternoon.
And it is obviously, we have had the good news that yes, they can fix our car. Obviously that is how much it's going to cost us. But I mean, generally the experience at the Peugeot garage has been amazing, hasn't it?
Peugeot has been fantastic.
And finally she's ready. Going backstage at the garage. These are the men who are... And here she is. We're reunited with the Beast. We finally have the rally car back. These are 2 beers that we are drinking in celebration. I think they're well-earned beers. And this is a pretty cool bar. It's sort of an open-air thing. We're underneath a Heineken parasol because it's started to spit a little bit, as we say in Britain.
The plan had been to just have 1 beer before pressing on from Budapest. But then Chris and Mark, aka the Sons of Hasselhoff, arrived, and they were clearly a bad influence on us.
Well, more beers have been ordered, and it's looking like we're not actually, as planned, going to leave Budapest tonight. Hey. So we've heard about a bar that's got
I'm really
cheesiest man in the world.
The cheesiest man in the world.
Everything is partially like fondue. Partially everything is like fondue. Cheap, but with less fat, no oil.
A few hours and quite a few beers later, we'd ended up in a bar where we met 3 Scandinavian girls who were interrailing around Europe. Like us, they were planning to head to Romania next. Ed and I joked that we could squeeze them into our car. At least we thought we were joking. In addition, Ed also played an impromptu piano gig before getting kicked off by the aforementioned cheesiest man in the world.
The audience are going wild.
Baby, you can shine a light.
How many of us are now in the car?
There are 5 of us in the car now, after we met these lovely Danish girls behind us in a bar in Budapest, where they wanted to come to Romania with us to stay in Transylvania. So we offered to give them a lift. God knows how we found the space.
They're suffering a bit. I mean, they're probably all going to die of deep vein thrombosis, and this will be on our heads.
With Sonia, Cecilia and Tanya on board, we pressed on and crossed the border into Romania.
So we've arrived in Romania. We're right here on the border. We're just waiting for the sons of Hasselhoff to get over the border and follow us. This is our first glimpse of Romania, not particularly inspiring, just a typical border.
So we're about 2 or 3 miles into Romania now, and we've decided it's the biggest hole on the planet. If you look out of the window here, there's some of the factories. We're stuck in a huge queue of traffic at the moment. The roads are shit. We've got 150 kilometres to go until we get where we want to camp tonight. At this rate, we'll be getting there sometime after midnight.
We drove into the night as we pushed on towards Transylvania, in convoy with the Sons of Hasselhoff and a couple of other rally teams. The poor weather meant that we abandoned our initial plans to camp, but cunningly we saved ourselves some cash by squeezing 11 of us into one hotel room.
We're quite enjoying Romania, aren't we, guys, actually?
Yeah.
It didn't get off to a very good start. It just looked like we'd taken a wrong turn and ended up in Beirut or something, but we're now driving through Transylvania in search of Dracula, and it is a stunning place. I mean, it's got lots of misty hills around, and but every so often we just go through these absolutely ugly sort of industrial places, but then the next town will be like a really pretty sort of Hansel and Gretel style shebang. And so yeah, Ed's behind the wheel, the girls adding the all-important Scandinavian glamour that was perhaps lacking from the trip earlier. Wow, got a very impatient truck driver here in rainy Romania trying an absolutely insane overtaking manoeuvre.
Romania was giving us our first taste since we'd started the rally of really bad roads, so unsurprisingly we ended up getting our first flat tyre of the trip. After a wheel change, we'd stopped for the next town to see if we could try and get a new spare wheel, and also had a Romanian drive-through Mackie D's.
We are possibly going to buy a new spare wheel off Transylvania's answer to Sir Willie Nelson, I think, who's a really cool guy. He doesn't speak much English, but he owns a pink car, and we just happened to walk past him, and he just seemed to have lots of spare wheels, and he's... Not the right size, no. Oh, damn, okay. Nothing ventured, nothing gained.
So, Premier, Royal Deluxe, 3. Miller, milkshake.
Oh, and Ed's command of Romanian is a triumph as we actually get through the window what we ordered. Well, we think.
And at the moment, Rich is just trying to find us somewhere to camp tonight in the middle of Transylvania so that we can bed down and have a couple of beers. Cheers, Rich.
We're going to camp in Dracula's woods. How cool is that?
Both of us being football fans, Ed and I had brought around 100 Nottingham Forest shirts on the trip with us, having decided that it'd be great to hand them out to street children when we arrived in Mongolia. On arriving at our campsite, we decided to have a bit of a sort out of them, only to confuse all the locals who thought we were having some kind of jumble sale.
Oh dear, what have we started? Word is spreading that we have got some sort of Nottingham Forest market store going on, and everybody is interested. A great example of reap what you sow going on here. We've got a campfire, and we have this very fine gentleman who's helping us put it together. In fact, I say helping, he's just doing all of the work. Oh, he's very shy. But no, he's actually even chopping wood with an axe and everything. It's brilliant. And all because we gave him a couple of Nottingham Forest shirts for his children. We've done that thing where we wake up and camp from camping and sleeping in a tent. We're all looking a bit silly because we all just threw on as many clothes as we could to try and keep warm, and so we have some very strange outfits going on. You may mock, but the long johns kept me warm.
Look at the state of that.
And now I'm off to spray some of Ed's deodorant around the car, which is starting to absolutely hum.
And if we look at the state of it at the moment, how we're going to fit 5 people in now, I don't know.
We continue to hammer down towards Bucharest in Romania. As you can see from the camera, we have the air conditioning on at the moment, but quite a sad moment today because we're about to bid farewell to our friends who we just feel like we've known them forever. We are dropping them off in Bucharest where they're going to go back to the boring world of interrailing. We are driving around Bucharest, and frankly, this place is fucking mental. Baker is about to lock horns with a roundabout. How are you feeling, Ed?
Fucking shit, Sky. I think I'll just go for it.
Yeah, just go for it. Oh, somebody's giving us the horn. Oh, fuck. No. So Ed, we're leaving Bucharest. It's been quite...
At last, we dropped off the girls about an hour and a half ago. We've been driving around Bucharest city centre for that last hour and a half. The drivers are completely insane. It's interesting now. You've actually got some white lines. There aren't any in the city. So people just drive where they want. We've been giving a few people the horn.
Go on, give the horn now, just to... Yeah, Baker is just degenerating into a arsey East European motorist. It's brilliant.
They're all fucking tools.
So, it's suddenly very spacious in the car, isn't it, without the girls?
Yeah, actually, I forgot about that. I can finally move my seat back a bit.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't got my knees around my chin.
Yeah. I think that's been a good thing about having the girls in. It's given us it's redrawn the boundaries a bit, and suddenly we're actually finding this crappy little car quite spacious. I feel like I'm in a limo or something now. It's brilliant.
It's lovely, and now we've lost the weight out the back. The acceleration is mind-blowing.
Whoa! Oh, look at him go. We're in an amazing place where Eastern European cars come to die. We've come actually to get spare tyres, but Ed is actually taking a sign off the back of this Trabant so we can turn our Peugeot into a Trabant.
Right, so we've just stopped to pick up a couple of spare tyres. Now we got a bit confused with the exchange rate, and they were trying to charge us a bit more than we had thought, but the guy who runs the scrapyard actually supports Nottingham Forest, so he let us off with 50 Romanian lei and 5 Forest shirts. We are now in convoy with the Romanian owner, who's showing us the best direction to get to the Moldovan border.
I was convinced that we were going to just have a nice quiet day today where no crazy shit happened. And look, here we are.
Our plan now for the next few days was to head to Ukraine via Moldova and then push on for Russia.
Okay, seeing as we're going to have to be living in this car for at least another 2 weeks, we thought we'd try and make it a bit more homely by having some flowers that we picked from the side of the road. We might get done for trying to smuggle flora and fauna across the border now. So that's yet another border. The only question is, what's the confusion here, Mr. Baker?
We're not actually sure what country we've come into. It's possibly the Ukraine, possibly Moldova. We're trying to get to Odessa at the moment, which is on the map over here. We're over here, but we're somewhere around that border. We may be going into the Ukraine, then into Moldova, then back into the Ukraine, but I don't know whether I'm driving on the right or the left or what's going on.
Oh, lunacy.
There we go.
I'm sure it will all become apparent. Right, we're driving on the right. That is good.
After our confusion, it turned out we were actually in Moldova, a country which we quickly discovered had by far the worst roads we'd come across so far. Fortunately, we were only there for a matter of minutes before we arrived at the border with Ukraine. So far on the rally, all of the border crossings have been largely straightforward. Most of them we've been able to just drive straight through without even stopping. Getting into Ukraine though turned out to be a mind-melting clusterfuck of endless document checks. It took bloody hours, and it was dark by the time we made it, although wired on adrenaline, we decided to press on.
Right, we're in the Ukraine. Finally, and just over in the distance, probably about, I don't know, half a mile away, there's just loads of shit on fire. It's just pretty weird, but we're just speculating over whether there's some poor guy over there who didn't pay the local mafia his protection racket money and they just decided to burn his entire manor down. So it's we're both just like, I don't know, we just feel mentally spent just from the border crossing. It was hard work anyway. It seemed to have went through endless. We lost count of the number of checkpoints we went to, sort of exiting Romania, entering Moldova, exiting Moldova again.
We have about 300 kilometres to go to get to Odessa, which is where we're hoping to stay tonight. At the current speed, it's going to take us about 10 hours to get there. The road signs are almost non-existent.
Then the ones that we can see
are in Russian or Ukrainian or whatever, and we can't understand them. We think we're heading to Odessa because it looks pretty similar, but we could be heading to somewhere completely random. There's actually another car. It's the first one I've seen for a long time.
Check it out, it's another car. This place, it is quite eerie. This place just seems to be absolutely fucking deserted, doesn't it?
Just insane.
Okay, we continue our journey through the Ukraine. We're having a Lionel Richie session, or Ed is behind the wheel. He is driving
all night long, all night.
Oh, night.
At the moment, it is 10 to 2. I've been driving through the Ukraine for about 4 hours now. It's been pretty easy going since sort of the first 20 miles of just solid potholes. We will thunder on to Odessa. We will be there before sunrise.
Oh, well, famous last words. Okay, we're at a petrol station at Odessa in the Ukraine. As you can see, petrol is now down to about 60p a litre. And here we have Mr. Baker, who is becoming an absolute avid tinkerer. Every time we stop the car, he can't resist going under the bonnet. But for a man who had no mechanical knowledge prior to this trip, I think he's going to be an expert by the time we get to Mongolia. And we have here our cooking gear, making breakfast for us. Or we don't know, we're at that point of travelling where we're confused as to what meal it actually is. Because basically, and there's the petrol station, basically we've been driving all night through the Ukraine, into the Ukraine, from Romania and through Moldova, and we've really got the bit between our teeth, and rather than getting some sleep, it's about 4:30 in the morning now, we've decided we're just going to have a break, have a breakfast, and then actually plough on for the Russian border. We're trying to get onto the Ukraine motorway, but we've somehow got lost and ended up in the ghetto. And we ended up a dead end, and on the way up to this dead end, unbelievably, a pack of wild dogs came and tried to attack our car. And we've got to now drive back the same way.
Fortunately, we escaped the ghetto of wild dogs unscathed, and even managed a cheeky stop-off by the Black Sea.
Now, being Midlands boys, me and Ed get really excited whenever we see the sea, don't we, Ed?
Absolutely, yes. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Let's go for a paddle. Hey, how's it feel, sir?
Excellent. It means I can have a wash as well.
We found Mr. Brown's office here at the beach in the Ukraine, and it looks pretty grim, but I've needed a poo since about 2 countries ago, and I've basically got no choice. I'm really glad I had the foresight to bring some toilet paper, so in I go.
And some reading material.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to read a bit about Rasputin in the Russia Lonely Planet Guide whilst I enjoy a leisurely poo. I don't think I think I'll be out very quickly. I'll leave it for 15 minutes if I were you. So we're kind of lost in a city in the Ukraine whose name we can't even pronounce. It's something like the Mishalov or something. It really does feel like we're in Russia now. We're not officially in Russia because obviously the Ukraine has been its independent country in its own right since 1991, but obviously it used to be part of the USSR. But loads and loads of very pompous sort of Russian statues everywhere and monuments and things, as you can see in the middle of this roundabout. We've been taking a lot of pictures on this trip, and there's one we were thinking about taking just a second ago, but we decided not to. Tell me about it.
Well, behind us we have a man with a scythe who's sort of attacking some grass, and Rich really wanted to go over and take a picture of him, but
it's very Children of the Corn stroke just death basically.
Yeah. And we thought it might upset the man, and so I gave Rich a lesson in life, which is never upset a man with a scythe.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really go much far wrong with that. Loads and loads of sunflowers. Got it.
We managed to successfully power across the whole of Ukraine in a single day and make it to the Russian border. Just before leaving Ukraine, we saw a firework display that we like to assume was organised in our honour, although the border crossing was once again a laborious process. We don't have any footage of this, as we've been told that filming at borders was generally a no-no. The issue in this instance, though, was largely due to a complete tool at the Russian customs checkpoint, making us almost weep with frustration.
Oh, what a tool! Now, was that not the most bizarre experience of your entire life?
Oh, ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. All he needed to do was say that we were buying some insurance and it would have been fine. If he hadn't made it look as if he wanted us to give him a bribe, we would have paid straight away. It's just, oh, for God's sake.
What time is it now, mate?
It's now 4:15 in the morning.
So how long has it taken us exactly to get through the Russian border?
6 hours.
Fucking hell. But anyway, check out Russia. Whoa, we're going into Russia and we're listening to Rasputin, my bony end. So it's day 9 of the Mongol Rally. As you just saw there, the car is parked here by the side of a petrol station, and this is just about 2 miles beyond the border into Russia, which we crossed through the night last night. It is now about 9 o'clock in the morning. We basically got across the border just as it was starting to get light at about sometime around 4 in the morning. We're so shattered, both from generally being tired and also just the very exhausting experience of getting across the border, that we just thought, right, we're going to just pull into the nearest garage and get our heads down and get some sleep. We don't actually know whether it's legal to do that here. We're both half expecting to be woken up by having a man pointing a gun at us. Frankly, we were just so tired we didn't care. We are now making kind of pretty much our first foray into Russia. So Ed's been reading a bit from the Lonely Planet guide about sort of some of the ins and outs of driving on the road in Russia, and he found something quite amusing about what the police are actually legally allowed to do if they catch you doing naughty stuff on the road. Go on, tell us about it, Ed.
Well, legally, if the feds try and pull us over, then and we don't stop, then they are legally allowed to shoot at our car. So I don't think we'll be testing that out at the moment.
We're at a Russian shopping centre. This is our first sort of stop, really. We need a map because we've just realised that we've attempted to undertake the biggest country in the world by road and we haven't got a map. So Ed's going to go in and try and get a map. But here we've just found them to be really amusing. It's a Lada with alloy wheels and blacked out windows. It's like a gangster pimp my ride.
We've now got a map of the whole of Russia, so we actually know where we're going. And hopefully we can be in Kazakhstan in probably 3 days' time.
Let's have a quick look at the map. Got it here. Whilst Ed's been driving, I've been sort of doing a bit of map work, and it's I'll tell you what is good about this map, mate, and that is the fact that it's very, very detailed. And I've driven some places before when you're working to a map that's something like 1 centimetre per 1,000 miles, and you just don't feel like you're getting anywhere, and it's kind of soul destroying. Whereas we've already sort of driven the length of 1 page of the map pretty much, haven't we?
Yeah. So, I think we've got how many pages is it to Kazakhstan?
I'm still working that out.
Having driven around 1,000 miles over the last 2 days with very little sleep, we decided after getting a few hundred miles into Russia to treat ourselves to a nice hotel.
Oh, this is just too surreal. We've found that this town is just the hardest town in the world to find a hotel in. We've resorted to... Ed is in the taxi, which I'm just following now, and then we've got the taxi to take us to a hotel, and I'm following in the rally car. This is probably going to cost us an absolute fortune. We're probably going to get ripped off, but we're just very tired and we're just desperate to get clean and get an early night, ready to rock on tomorrow. So Ed, a lot of people who are doing the Mongol Rally would probably be absolutely outraged at this, but where are we right now?
At the moment we're in a 5-star hotel. Now they're charging us 5,400 rubles, which is just over 100 quid for the night, but then 50 quid each for 5-star accommodation. You can't really go wrong. One thing that we are looking forward to is having a bath.
I'm gazing wistfully at the beautiful view out of the window of our 5-star hotel room, but we're quite tickled by our own decadence here. I mean, we're thinking about even utilising the hotel laundry service to get all of our washing done, rather than washing our stuff in a river, which was according to the original plan. And Ed, I can tell he's done this sort of thing before. He pretty much as soon as we got in here, he emptied out the minibar onto the sort of the bureau or whatever you'd call it. Went in to open the minibar, and it's now got our beer in it, our own beer that we brought with us. So Ed, where are we now? Aha! We're at a place called Aha! Oh, it's going over a very bumpy rail track. And something quite amusing has just happened, hasn't it, Ed? And seeing as you're the main character in this next story, do you want to tell the tale?
Well, we're just going through another village back there, and I was stuck behind 2 lorries. And I'd seen that there was no overtaking sign, but I could see that that restriction was about to be lifted, and I could see that I had a straight road ahead, so and no cars coming. So I decided to pull out and overtake the 2 said lorries. Unfortunately, about 300 yards down the road, there was a couple of Russian policemen. So they pulled me over, and at first I sort of tried to play dumb, saying that I'd overtaken after the sign, even though I knew full well that I had broken the law. So they let me sit in the front seat of their police car, and sort of showed me the Russian equivalent of the highway code, sort of pointing out the no overtaking sign. So after a bit of a chat and him saying that I sort of gave him my licence, and he was going to sort of put it in his top pocket, and so I got our Russian guidebook, which is proving invaluable at the moment, and sort of pointed at how much is it, and so basically we got away with a £10 fine, and then we sent on our way with a handshake and a wave. So
yeah. I actually think, mate, it's quite an interesting sort of memorial type thing just going past here.
Yeah, World War II.
Yeah, I actually thought they were quite nice guys, actually.
Yeah, they were.
I mean, as you were sat in the passenger seat of their larder, sort of trying to talk your way out of trouble, I was chatting, there was 2 of them, and you were obviously chatting to the other guy in the car, and I was sort of stood there with the other police guy, because I'd gotten out of the car as well, and I was sort of just passing time of day as much as you can with somebody who doesn't speak English and when you don't speak Russian, and I'd sort of pointed at the sun and then gave him a thumbs up, because it's a beautiful sunny day today, and he sort of gave it this smirk and pointed at some bushes in the shade by the side of the road, and then sort of did a thing of his hands as if he was miming sleeping, which basically, I think what he was saying is that, you know, he likes to just have a nice kip on the job in the sunshine, which I thought was pretty funny, and then he actually let me have a play with his speed gun as well, which is pretty cool. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, fair enough. I mean, 10 quid's nothing to us. That'll probably get them quite a few beers. So we've got a bit of a story now about how we've been done by the cops, and we've got a very, very ornate.
I'll be overtaken on the inside.
Yeah. So, you better be careful, boy. You'll be paying out 500 rubles as well.
After our run-in with the Russian feds, day 10 was one of quite slow progress. We seemed to spend hours stuck behind trucks belching out black smoke, never getting much above 30 miles an hour. We decided it'd help our progress if we stopped for coffee, but it had the opposite effect, as the friendly Russians who ran the cafe invited us to drink vodka with them, and we ended up getting absolutely shit-faced. At one point, about 7 vodka shots in, we got paranoid that the Russians were trying to get us so drunk that they could steal our kidneys. But it turned out they were actually just really nice people. And having rendered us incapable of driving any further that day, they even let us pitch our tent for the night outside their cafe.
Cheers. Not like that. Oh, and it's down in one. Oh, good man.
We woke up on day 11 very hungover, and though we'd only been in Russia for a few days, we were very much focused on getting back out again. Nothing against Russia, but one thing that had always been on our Mongol Rally bucket list was to dip south for a few days into Kazakhstan. We still had a good 1,000 miles or so though to go to get to Chelyabinsk, a big Russian city near the Kazakh border.
There were also some pretty ropey roads we'd have to tackle on the way too.
It looks like a big pile of shit in the middle of the road. Let's drive past it.
A giant dog is obviously just taking a dump. We're now driving through what we're discovering is a very typical
Russian hamlet, I think.
Hamlets, yeah. All very, very deliverance.
And I think we have to admit at the moment that we are slightly lost. Speed bump, speed bump, speed bump. Oh. Yeah, we are slightly lost. I think we've just got the circuit of this town. I think we're going to turn right. Whoa!
Russian drivers are nuts, as you may have just seen there.
And I think we're going to turn right here.
Okay, it's our pals, the Russian police. Because the ones we got pulled by earlier were so friendly, we've just seen some more, so we're going to go and say hi. Here we go. Just walking along the... we just flew past, saw them, we pulled up just a head back behind me. So, let's go and see what these lovely officers have got to say. Oh, and how disappointing. It's actually a cardboard cutout police car that they've put by the side of the road to try and make people think, oh, I better slow down and stuff. But that is quite amusing.
Right. I am about to tackle officially the worst bit of road we've found so far. Oh, look at this. Oh, fuck. Oh, the car is going to be an absolute Oh, always turn into a skid.
Oh, watch that.
Alright. Hey. The Burgundy beast survives the latest tribulation.
After a day of really terrible roads, we decided once more to treat ourselves to a hotel. Though rather than go 5-star again, we decided to keep it real this time.
A rare moment of hygiene on the Mongol Rally as Ed washes his hands in possibly the worst hotel either of us have ever stayed in, but it's only costing us about 12 quid for the night for a twin room.
What's telly?
With a telly, yeah. What's the problem though with washing your hands, Ed?
Well, if I turn on the tap here, you'll see there's no water.
But our caring, sharing hosts have done what?
They've filled up some bottles of water. Don't know where from.
As well as being a hovel, the hotel was also run by a scary Russian woman with only about 3 teeth, who seemed to take quite a shine to Ed, much to his terror. But while there, we hatched a plan.
We stopped off at this hotel, and literally about a couple of miles back, there was a sign saying Chelyabinsk 1002. So we thought, right, it's getting late. We were initially going to camp, but then we saw this place, thought, let's just stay here. We've decided that tomorrow is going to be our Smokey and the Bandit day, where we've basically got 1,000 kilometres to go to Chelyabinsk, and we're going to try and do it in one day. So 1,000 kilometres, that's in our money, is 666 miles. So it's kind of the mileage of the beast as well. And we may or may not succeed, but we're going to give it a go.
Yeah, well, it's motorway all the way there, so we should be fine.
We should be fine, and that will take us to pretty much quite close to the Kazakhstan border.
Yeah, it was the last stop before Kazakhstan. So.
Yeah, very exciting. So that should be the day after tomorrow we cross that border.
Let's hope so.
Okay, and so off we embark on the attempt to drive 1,000 kilometres in one day.
Dog in the road.
Whoa, dog in the road. Dog in the road. Out of the way, doggy. Whoa. Whoa, 500k. Yeah, we're halfway there. It's probably going to be quite a late finish today, but we're determined to stick with 1,000k in a day. Yeah, let's crack on. Yeah. So we're running into a few problems here. It's very late at night. We've still got a couple of 100 miles to go to get to Chelyabinsk. Earlier in the day we spent our last Russian money that we had on a load of crisps and stuff. And we're now running very low on petrol, and none of the petrol stations that we seem to stop at seem to be either open or take cards. Here we have a face of triumph. I've got money. It was getting really desperate. We've been on the orange light on the petrol gauge for miles and miles and miles. We took the desperate measure of pulling off the motorway at this really small town. Thinking, please have a cash point, otherwise we're just fucked.
And I spotted through the darkness this word which I thought had to mean bank.
And it did mean bank. We're all going to have to wake up, you miserable fucker, in the hook, aren't we?
Yep.
Should we pretend that we've only stopped for some crisps or something? That'll really piss them off.
Let's do this. Oh. Sorry. Can I have 1,000 rubles worth of 95?
Eventually, very late at night, we hit the magic 1,000-kilometre mark. We were, however, still a good 100 kilometres or so from Chelyabinsk, largely because we'd racked up lots of extra kilometres throughout the day by getting lost in every Russian city we'd passed through. Our 1,000-kilometre challenge completed though, we decided to call it a day and found a place where we could pull up by the side of a road and sleep in the car for the night.
Right, so it's day 13. We've just woken up after another night of sleeping in the car. We've had a couple of coffees at a roadside cafe, and we're about to set off for Chelyabinsk after yesterday's 1,000 kilometres.
Okay, one thing we have learned from the Mongol Rally is if you get right up the arse of a truck, the police can't see you to pull you until it's too late. Ha ha!
Let's just see if this guy gives us a look. No, he's just looking the other way.
We decided on arriving in Chelyabinsk that we'd treat ourselves to a rest day, and once again the lure of a nice hotel proved just too much to resist.
And so it is that we check into another. Is this 5-star, mate?
Oh, no idea, but it looks it.
It looks it. Amusingly, this is the view out of our window into the car park. The security guys are just completely bemused by our car, because as you can see, there's a slightly better class of car in the rest of the car park. So we check out of the 5-star hotel. We got ourselves clean, and within about 10 seconds, Ed's hands are dirty again. The boy just can't help himself. What's happening here, Mr. Baker?
We are getting some new tyres fitted onto our wheels. Hopefully we're getting one of the wheels sorted out as well, because I think the potholes of rural Russia kind of dented one of them quite significantly. So we're just going to get this done, then head out to the city, find a supermarket, get some water, and then I think we'll make some proper coffee.
Yeah. There's the guys sorting our shit out for us. Okay, this is our last stop off before we cross the border into Kazakhstan. Well, I say cross the border into Kazakhstan, I'm making a bit of an assumption there, assuming the letter's in. Generally, everywhere we've been in Russia, we've just seen things on plinths, whether it be This is the first tank we've seen, but we've seen lots of aeroplanes on plinths, lots of cars on plinths, and also lots of other trains on plinths. Okay, so we are officially in no man's land now between Russia and Kazakhstan. We've exited Russia. We're now coming up to passport control and customs to get into Kazakhstan. Watch this space. And ways to kill time during an international border crossing, number 1. Whoa! Baker needs to work on his ball control, I think.
So we've been sat in this queue for about 2 hours now, and I've just had an idea. If you see over there, there's no border, so I was thinking we should just sod it and make a break over the fields and cross into Kazakhstan that way. It'd probably be a lot quicker, although a lot more dangerous. Yeah, we need something to keep us amused, and the whole Kazakh army chasing us with rifles might be quite amusing.
Yeah, I mean, it is getting to a point now where, I mean, we've broke out the masking tape, we've covered part of the dashboard in masking tape, we've been writing statistics on. Ed, give us some statistics from our trip so far.
So far is countries 12, gearboxes 2. Other teams we've convoyed with 5, stopped by the police 5 times, only been fined once, and that was 500 rubles. Lost mobiles 1, lost credit cards 2, nights without sleep 1, nights camping 3, nights in the car 3, racing circuits banned from 1, grams of coffee 1.25 kilos. Danish hitchhikers 3, visas 3, 5-star hotels 2. This is an interesting one. Showers and baths. I've had 8, and Rich has only had 4. So we know who's the cleanest in the car at the moment.
Well, we've got somebody here going across the border on foot, by the looks of it. Which is always quite an entertaining thing to see when you're at an international frontier.
Yeah. Well, people are getting through. It's just very, very slow progress.
Everybody is going to Mongolia instead of sitting with lovely girlfriend, wife. I think you're crazy that you're going there. Okay.
We are in Kazakhstan. Well, we have 871 kilometres to go to the capital, so I think that'll take us a couple of days. But it's been a fun border crossing, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's taken ages, but it just shows what a difference it can make when, you know, a bit of friendliness and a few smiles. The Kazakh people at the border have just been lovely. They've been really, really friendly and welcoming, and it's just given me a really good feeling as we enter this country. And here in my hand, I have our Kazakh road insurance. I mean, much like when we entered Russia, we had to buy insurance to be able to legally drive our car on the roads here. Except, obviously, unlike the Russians, they actually told us straight away exactly what it was, rather than just going money, 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 and thinking that leading us to think they're asking for a bribe. It's cost us, we've worked out, according to the current exchange rates, a total of about £2.50 for this insurance. How long does it last for? I didn't quite work that out.
I don't know.
I don't know, but it will cover us for as long as we are in Kazakhstan. I mean, I don't quite know what it includes, whether we've got like breakdown cover or and we get a courtesy car or anything like that. But it'd be interesting to see a Kazakh courtesy car. But anyway, on we go. This is all very exciting.
It is.
So we're off on our first adventure into the Kazakhstan outback. Now we've seen what looks like a kind of a deserted, abandoned, ruined village, and it looks really interesting. So we've pulled off the road. We've discovered though, as soon as you come off the main highway here in Kazakhstan, this is the sort of roads that you get. So we decided rather than drive the car all the way over to the village, which is just sort of over there, we're going to walk it because we would just completely destroy our car if we tried to take it over here. We're going to take a bit of a hike. We've got our coffee making equipment, and we're going to see what we can find. So here we are, we're in, well, the wilderness really in Kazakhstan. We've only been here about 20 minutes and we're already getting a sense of it. It's just an incredible wide open space, very desolate, just nobody around, like a ghost town. And we've decided to wander over to what looks like maybe once upon a time was a really small village, and it's just completely ruined now. I'd love to know what the story is here. We've decided to make some coffee, so we've brought our camp equipment. I'm keeping hold of the stove right here because this rock isn't particularly steady and we don't want to tip over and start a massive bushfire here. That wouldn't be a very nice thing to do after they've made us so welcome into their country. Okay, we're going through what is our first sort of semblance of Kazakh civilization here. This is the town of Kostane. What we've got in front of us here, we think it's probably a prison or something. It's got like watchtowers, lots of barbed wire on the walls, and it's a very low-rise sort of place. Suddenly the roads have got quite shit, for want of a better word. And we've got potholes left, right and centre. But again, it's just very, very sparse. There's just nobody around. Got a lovely sunset over there. Not very busy, very infrequent traffic. Now, and over in the distance over there, this really amused me. We keep seeing a few of these, and I keep thinking, wow, it's a shitter in the middle of nowhere.
I think it might be the entrance to a pipeline, but I might be completely wrong. But no, they seem to be sort of about every mile at the moment, and I think I remember seeing them in like James Bond films or whatever, where you can like enter the pipeline. So it could be something like that. So off it goes.
So here we go then. This is a closer look at the what we initially thought was a toilet. And here it is, down into some oil. That's pretty cool, actually. It's just a big pipe that goes underground. You can't see anything, but like a well, but obviously looking down. But obviously it leads down to oil.
Down the road, there's nothing, absolute nothing. It's just beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
We decided to camp in the Kazakh wilderness. Not our best idea in hindsight, because during the night we were joined by some unwelcome visitors.
Go on, Baker, kill, show no mercy.
Oh. God, I'm not starting my shave until all these little bastards are dead.
There's dead mosquitoes everywhere. One there! We've got dead mosquitoes splattered all over the car.
Okay, so here we are. We're about to go and have a look at the underside of the car.
We keep seeing all of these police things. We've seen a lot of them in Russia, and there's quite a few in Kazakhstan where it's like a vantage point that they drive their patrol cars up onto, so they can sort of have an elevated view of the road. But there seems to be absolutely bugger all police here, so we're going to drive our car onto this one over here. Just so we can have a look at the underneath and see how much we've completely battered it, probably on these roads alone. So steady as she goes. All right.
Oh, the back of the clutch.
So here I am underneath the car. It's looking pretty dirty under here, but it's holding up pretty well by the looks of it. If I just turn the camera around, you can kind of see. Now this is the sump guard. It's kind of hanging a bit loose here. It was supposed to be bolted on. We seem to have lost one of the moorings here, but otherwise it's holding pretty firm. It's taken a lot of scrapes. But yeah, we're pretty happy. What do you make of it, mate?
It's looking alright, isn't it?
Yeah.
A few scrapes on here. Obviously a lot of scrapes on the sump guard, but But no, it's bearing up, which is good news.
Yeah.
Very good news.
We better clear.
Can't believe how dirty it is. So.
Yeah, we better clear off before the police catch us on their little viewing ramp.
Yeah. Right. Let's head off.
Traffic jam, Kazakhstan style. We fill up with petrol from the jerry can. I've made a funnel out of a Coke bottle. Over there is the main highway to Astana, which we've been following. And the Kazakh people have just decided to fuck it off and make their own unofficial road that runs in parallel to it, which is just literally just a dirt track, which is a lot smoother. And here comes the Burgundy Beast. It's about to kick up an absolute cloud of dust. It's making a few funny noises. Whoa!
After a few hours of doing battle with the interesting Kazakh roads, we decided to stop for a rest.
Rich has decided that it's time to have a nap.
And look at the hammock, I mean, which we bought in, where was it, in the Ukraine for about £2 or something.
Yeah.
It's involved a bit of jiggery pokery with the tow rope.
Yeah. Anyway, we have, as you can see, 495k to go. We'll have a bit of a nap, and then we'll head off.
Refreshed after our power naps, we cracked on, although the roads continued to be so bad that we perhaps unsurprisingly got a flat tyre. Some local kids spotted us fixing our car though, and naturally invited us to have a kickabout with them.
Bye-bye. He'll be able to. Yeah. Oh, we picked it up.
Oh mate, that was so inspiring.
It was fantastic, absolutely fantastic.
Just in Baku, you know, there's just so much paranoia about, you know, children talking to adults and all of that sort of business. And I just love the fact you come to places like here and just have a proper good chinwag with some kids who don't really understand what they're saying, but you can kind of, you know, bridge that gap through things like football and pointing at things and just generally smiles and high fives and stuff. That's been one of the highlights for me. So
Absolute highlight. Absolute highlight.
And just the fact that we had a kickabout of it, their equivalent of the M1.
It wasn't even lunchtime yet and already a lot had happened, and the day was about to get even more eventful.
And so we stumble across the first rally team we've seen in literally about a week. What's the problem, guys?
We have no idea. Well, no, we think the fuel is not getting to the engine. It's starting, but the engine's not turning over.
So Ed, Kazakhstan has already been pretty mental. Explain exactly how it's suddenly got even more mental.
At the moment we're towing a London taxi cab. Another team, we're going to try and tow them the 5 kilometres to back to the next town.
And so we arrived in the village, having successfully towed the taxi a good 5 or 6 miles. The beast is panting. The boys are going to push the taxi the rest of the way, so we didn't fancy towing it down this sort of steep drop here. And there she goes to the garage, which is just down there somewhere. Okay, in the middle of a tiny Kazakh village. And the taxi is being looked at. At this garage here.
I've got a sunburned face because I forgot to put cream on.
What's the latest, guys?
Yeah?
What's the latest on the...
Well, they seem to have diagnosed the problem, or what they think is the problem, which seems to be the air filter.
Fuel filter.
A fuel filter, sorry.
Some sort of filter, anyway.
Yeah.
Sadly, it looked like the taxi wasn't going to get fixed anytime soon, so we decided to leave our new friends and continue towards the Kazakh capital of Astana.
So this is pretty much the Kazakh version of the M1, and it just sort of finishes here, and so we're having to come off road again.
As we pressed on, the road conditions continued to be challenging, and one particularly big pothole saw our sump guard completely ripped off from the bottom of our car. At this point, Ed and I agreed that enough things had happened to us for one day and decided to stop for the night and sleep in the car, or in my case, on the car.
Okay, so it's the start of day 16, and it's our first bit of rain for a while. We've had a bit of a hold-up with some ducks.
Just a big flock of geese blocking the road. This space is just crazy. Yeah, we stopped last night and decided to do the final leg to Astana today. Slight extra curveball now, because as well as horrendous roads, we now have horrendous roads plus rain. Now, if we have to go off-road on those dusty tracks, which will probably just turn into mud, this could be quite interesting. But we will see how we get on. It appears we took a wrong turn and ended up in Paris. No, of course we didn't. Let me just pan back. We made it to Astana, finally. This is our hotel room. There's Baker catching up on some laptop action over there. We have Kazakh TV going on in here. And check this out, a bargain for 40 quid a night, which we paid for in Russian rubles actually. We've actually got a separate room with a corner sofa. Absolutely picturesque views here of the town. Still very, very drizzly. And suddenly we've gone from there being one rally car as second on the right to 4. Yeah, 3 other rally teams, obviously having seen that we're staying at this hotel, have decided to rock up here as well. Very excitingly, these are some of the teams that we've been convoying with before. There's on the right is the Torbay tourists, who were really, really bust a gut to help us when we were broken down in Hungary. So it'd be nice. We've not seen them since, so it'd be nice to buy those guys a beer just to say thank you.
We duly headed into town and had a few beers with the other rally teams. We also had a look around Astana, although for most of the day it was throwing it down with rain.
Okay, we're here in monsoon season in Astana. We've got a whole tribe of street cleaners here. They look like deep-sea fishermen in their oilskin sou'westers, and the drainage is just not coping with this rain. It's just chaos. Whoa.
And so it's the start of day 17 now, and I don't know if you can see down there because the window's a bit dirty, but our cars have created a bit of a stir in the capital of Kazakhstan. Rich is out there just putting some stuff in the car, and a few of the locals have decided to see what's going on. There's one of the guys from Totally 2CV as well. But no, we're just trying to pack up the car at the moment, and then we're going to try and get our sump guard refitted, get a new tyre, and then try and kick on to Pavlodar today. But we don't know what the roads are going to be like, so we'll see how far we get.
After getting out of Astana, we were quickly back into Kazakhstan's wide open spaces.
We're starting to get a bit hungry, and Rich has sort of left the stuff in the boot. So there you go. He's just trying to get the food out of the bag. Luckily, the roads are pretty clear at the moment. And hey, excellent! We have Lays, and now he's coming back. And we can have our mid-morning snack. I think I nearly impaled my scrotum on something doing that.
They were continuing the journey towards Pavlodar.
having left Astana a couple of hours ago, we're out in just the wilderness again. As you saw there, we're even starting to see a lot of ger tents where people are living. Got a garage here, we're hoping to stock up on petrol.
Any pumps, sir?
It's a petrol station without any pumps, which is about as useful as a chocolate teapot. Fortunately, the roads have been pretty good, although that could be famous last words. They'll probably disappear any moment. We've seen signs warning us that there might be bears, which is a bit disconcerting.
Just got beeped by somebody.
Just got beeped by somebody for no apparent reason. And we are apparently in proper bandit country now. Apparently there is talk of, I don't know, I've just got image of Adam Ant-style Kazakhs jumping out at us with blunderbusses demanding our money.
So Ed, we've just arrived in Pavlodar.
And we got stopped by the police. We don't know if we've done anything wrong, but we kind of said, hi guys, how are we doing? And then asked them if they had a garage, if they knew where a garage was. And so they very kindly sort of gave us some directions there, and then we were sort of looking around the car. And we sort of asked if we were tourists, so we said that we were going to Mongolia. And they looked at the front of the car and saw all the signatures, and we actually got one of them to sign the car. God knows what he's written, but
what we've discovered is, though, it's a bit of a ploy, isn't it? Now, when we get stopped by the police, we'll just, I don't know, let's just act like we've done absolutely nothing wrong and just start chatting to them, and they'll get probably sufficiently interested in what we're doing enough to forget why they actually pulled us in the first place. Because eventually it was just like, right, on you go. Didn't have to see any papers or anything. So
that's just brilliant. I love this country. I absolutely love this country.
Yeah, I mean, it's been so random again. I mean, today we've driven from Astana. We're just about arriving in Pavlodar now. And on the way, we've just seen some really random stuff. I mean, probably the most random thing was seeing a man on a push bike driving on the wrong side of the road down the motorway, giving his wife a croggy. Which is just amazing. And so yeah, I mean, we were a bit worried about the road because we thought it would be awful, and we were taking a bit of a risk driving all of this way without a sump guard. But we thought we'd drive here to get the sump guard rather than have it done in Astana as we'd originally planned, because it just became apparent after spending a bit of time in Astana that it was just a really, really expensive place, and we'd probably end up paying ridiculous amounts of money to get the sump guard refitted. So hopefully we'll be able to get it done for a decent price here and crack on back into Russia. And so we arrive at a Kazakh garage. We've become a bit of a main event around here. Everyone's turned out to check out our car, and they're just trying to see if they can reattach our sump guard. They've already sorted out our tyre that we managed to completely shred. Now let's see if they can do the sump guard as well.
After another night sleeping in the car, we prepared to bid farewell to Kazakhstan, a country we'd grown to love. But the place had one final surprise for us.
Baker, why have we stopped?
We've stopped because over there is a golden eagle, which was just stood at the side of the road. And we just thought it was too good an opportunity to miss to get this on camera, so we'll get out of the road and we'll go and see it.
Yeah. What if we had one of those David Bellamy I Spy books for Kazakhstan?
This would be 50 in the I Spy book.
Right. He's in that tree over there. We're going to creep over and see if we can find him. Nah, he's out of here. He's having none of it.
We're just about to head for the Russian border, but we think the exhaust might be going a little bit. If you just hear this.
Let's see.
Yeah, I think it's going.
Okay, let's go back to Russia.
Onwards.
So it's probably our very final thing we're going to do in Kazakhstan, because we're right near the Russian border. Suddenly we've hit desert country. It's really, really great. So I'm just lazing in the sand here whilst Ed's cooking me breakfast. I have some super noodles.
As per usual, the border crossing was a massive drag, and it took hours for us to get those all-important Kazakh exit stamps in our passports. All the time spent waiting gave us time, though, to reflect, and it dawned on us that Mongolia was now just a few days away. The plan was to continue east across Russia towards the city of Irkutsk, and then cross into Mongolia via the country's northern border, and then drive the final few hundred miles to the finish line in the Mongolian capital city of Ulaanbaatar.
We've been back in Russia now for probably about 3 hours, haven't we?
Yeah, after a reasonably lengthy border crossing, just made longer by the fact that it's just bureaucratic nonsense. You have to go to one office, fill one thing in, then go to another office and fill another thing in. So the whole thing took probably about three hours or so. But since we've got back into Russia, the roads have been fantastic.
So we continue our journey through Siberia. We've stopped to make a spot of lunch, or it could be breakfast. It's just got to that sort of weird time where you just don't know what time of day it is anymore. Here is Mr. Baker under the shelter of this glorious bush shelter with an almost Gaudi-esque mosaic kind of pattern on it. How is the pasta?
It's very nice, very nice. But we have noticed while we've been here that this place isn't just used as a bus shelter. Obviously, some people have been having romantic liaisons here. As you can see, it says romantic love, and I'm not sure I can think of anywhere more romantic than a bus shelter.
Oh, we have an accident here. Something's gone off.
We found ourselves on the bank of a river at a place called, what is pronounced Barnow. We've just had a curry cooked by Rich, which was very nice. We had it with tortillas. So we've had our fill, and now in scenes reminiscent of the Middle Ages, Rich is going to try and scrub clean our pan.
After I'd finished the washing up, Ed and I spent another gloriously uncomfortable night sleeping in the car.
So Edward, it's day 19.
Yes.
We've made a very early start. We tried our old tricks again at making coffee, pulling up on a petrol station forecourt to make coffee, but what happened?
I think we were told to fuck off. but in Russia, we kind of sat, and at the time I was still in my sleeping bag. I was sort of trying to get my stuff together and try to get my shoes on, and suddenly a voice came over the loudspeaker telling us something in Russian, but I think they were sort of telling us to go away in no uncertain terms. It's 5:45 in the morning, and we're going to see how close we can get to Irkutsk today. It's probably about another 1800 k, so we're not going to make it tonight, but if we can make it sort of reasonably close today, then we can have a day off on day 21, which will be, oh god, what day is it today? Wednesday. It's going to be Friday. Hopefully we'll get there by probably Thursday night. Have a day off on Friday, maybe even a day off on Saturday, and then head for Mongolia on Sunday. Hopefully get to Ulaanbaatar probably for Tuesday or Wednesday next week.
It's quite strange, really. I don't know, we've been so immersed in this trip, and now suddenly we have to come to terms with the fact that it's actually coming towards an end, isn't it?
It is coming towards an end. I mean, we've still got a lot of driving to do, and no doubt there'll be more shenanigans before we've finished. Something's been quite tickling us about the roadsides.
Yeah, about 2 minutes ago, we went past a road sign saying Irkutsk 1,700 and something kilometres, and then about 30 seconds ago, it seems to have dropped down to 1,500 and something kilometres. So we just get the feeling that they just make up numbers on these road signs.
So as you've just seen, Ed and I were in pretty good spirits as we got stuck into day 19 of our adventure. Mongolia was now pretty much within touching distance, and that felt really good. What we didn't know, though, was that there was about to be a twist in the tale. Our little car had been brilliant and had rarely let us down in the thousands of miles that we'd covered. But unbeknown to us, the brakes had stopped working, and we were about to find out in the worst possible way.
So this is game over for us, we think. Bit of brake failure, probably an understatement. We went into the back of that truck there. Car is completely buggered. We're both a bit shocked. Apparently the police are on their way. Fuck knows what's going to happen.
The feds arrived and ended up towing the remains of our car to the nearest police station, where Ed, who'd been driving, had to go and face the music. Though it had been an accident, he was shitting his pants.
It looks like we're arriving in the village now, where they're going to where it looks like we're going to have the wake for the Burgundy beast of some description, and then work out how the hell we're going to get to Irkutsk. So watch this space.
The Russian police found a random local woman who spoke English to interpret for us. Through her, Ed negotiated a dodgy deal with the cops, where we could walk free as long as we gave them the remains of our car for them to sell for scrap.
And that's it, that's where we leave it. Having managed to extract ourselves from the police station, sans car admittedly, we are now being given a lift quite a long way by a police officer in his own car. He's driving like an absolute madman. He got really offended when I tried to put my seatbelt on. He just did 120 kilometres per hour in a 40 limit, and he's going to drop us off at the station so we can get a train out of here.
It just gets more and more bizarre.
So this is one of the platforms at the local railway station where the police brought us. Very long Russian train there. We are, however, being told that there are no trains to Irkutsk, or at least no trains with free seats or places to Irkutsk for another couple of days. Now, the police have just been amazing. The guy who gave us a lift here in his own car actually even helped us carry our bags into the station. And when we were having trouble getting the lady at the counter to understand us, they even sort of came to help us then, and which was clearly trying to do some bidding for us to try and blag us onto a train somehow. However, having told us to sort of sit tight about a good hour ago, our police friends have just seemed to have cleared off and left us here. So we're wondering whether we sort of sit it out of the station for 2 days and get a train, go off into the town, which is sort of over there and doesn't look particularly inspiring, find a hotel, or do we try and hitchhike to Irkutsk? Watch this space. So we've been at the station for about 5 hours now, and finally we've had a breakthrough. After spending hours literally wondering what the hell was going on, we finally have tickets for a train leaving tonight. All right, Baker, we're getting on the Transylvania Railway.
Yeah, our chariot's got slightly bigger, hasn't it?
Yeah.
A 36-hour train journey meant plenty of time for Ed and I to reflect on what had happened. It was a weird mix of being gutted about the car, but also relieved that no one had been seriously hurt and that we weren't facing Russian prison. Furthermore, we were still Mongolia bound.
So here we are on the Transylvanian Railway. I think we've got about 9 hours left of the journey. We've just been sitting back with a beer and some coffee, and we've just been inspecting the battle wounds from yesterday. And if we just scroll down here, you can just see the bruising across the stomach there. I have apologised profusely to Rich, but he seems pretty chilled out.
So the sun sets on another eventful day in the excellent adventure. Ed, what time is it?
We have absolutely no idea. It's either 9:30, 4:30, or 2:30. Basically, we don't know whether we're on Moscow time, local time, or whatever. We're just very confused, but I think we're just going to have a drink and go to sleep.
After 2 nights on the train, we arrived at our destination, where we bagged some top-quality accommodation.
And here we are in Irkutsk, and Ed and I have managed to land ourselves, for the princely sum of £40 a night, our own apartment in the ghetto. This is the view from the balcony, where bizarrely there's like a knackered old cooker. I'll just spin the camera around. This is the sort of the bedroom type thing. This is just the general living room. We have here the bathroom, which is lovely and got a very stylish picture of swans on the ceiling. Bizarrely no basin, although there's a plastic bowl on the floor, but there's no hot water anyway, so I don't think we're going to be doing much washing. One of those toilets that's got the sort of the shelf on, so you can do a poo and admire it in its full glory before flushing it away. And then the best thing of all, out into the hallway, the sort of the communal staircase of death. I mean, whoa, this is like something off Train Spotted or something. Loads of graffiti. Oh, this place is grim.
After dumping our bags in our cracked end crash pad, we set about our plan, which was to wander around Irkutsk in the hope that we'd bump into another rally team who'd be prepared to let us jump in with them for the final 500 or so miles to the finish line. For hours we had no joy, although we did find a Russian Beatles theme pub. As we entered our second day in Irkutsk though, we were about to give up and start making arrangements to get the train the rest of the way to Mongolia. But then, in an internet cafe, we bumped into fellow ralliers Frank, Richie and Gwen.
And so our French knights in shining armour arrived to rescue us from Irkutsk. We're walking to their car now. They are driving a Vauxhall Astra. There's a certain irony in English guys that were driving a French car being rescued by some French guys driving an English car. But here we go. Here's our chariot to Ulaanbaatar. Just trying to work out now how we get all of our stuff in the car. We seem to be attracting quite a lot of local attention here. It's not for the first time on this trip. And off we go.
Por más aventuras!
Very close up on Ed's face there.
Very strange being in the back of a car, but it's all good. We're liking these guys a lot. They left to start the rally with no visas, and they had an even worse Russian map than the one we had, and they've made it this far. They're our kind of people. The car, however, with 5 people in it now instead of 3, we'll just turn around. They've managed to make their way across Russia using just this map, which I just think is incredible, really. And we're really struggling to make it up this hill with 5 people in the car. We're going downhill now. We've conquered the hill. It's the biggest lake in the whole world, Lake Baikal. Ed, what are you making of Lake Baikal?
It's pretty impressive, isn't it? It's a fantastic scenery.
These are our new friends posing for pictures by the lake. Ed, me and you have been living on this trip, let's face it, by and large, on Lays,
on shit
and Snickers.
And these boys, you know, they casually whip out a platter of cheese. They've got some rice on the go here.
L'apéritif.
So, having to start the day by bump starting the car because we left the lights on too long last night whilst having dinner. Oh, that didn't work. And so we're required to show all of the grit and spirit of Genghis Khan himself as we attempt to flag down help from passing Russian motorists. We have the jump leads, we just need another car. Is he going to stop? Oh, the man has no heart. To wait for somebody else to come and save us from this mire. Hey!
The car successfully jump-started. We hit the road knowing Mongolia was only a few hours away.
Okay, we're into our last 100 miles or so of Russia, and the landscape is changing quite dramatically. We've got these really misty mountains, still got larders, still Russia. We've got these very misty mountains, and it's all gone a bit more barren. There's not the sort of lots of forests anymore, which tells us we're getting closer and closer to Mongolia. And so we arrive at the Mongolian border.
Yes!
Having just stopped and blown our last rubles at a shop which, very bizarrely, a Russian shop in this border town that sold iron brew. Made from Gadas.
Unfortunately at this point, the Mongol Rally threw us another curveball.
So this is where the story ends. The Mongolian authorities have decreed it that we can't take the car any further, and lo and behold, there's a load of other impounded rally cars here. So it's looking like, what's happening, guys? How are we getting to Ulaanbaatar now?
Looks like we're getting
We'll see. Taxi, hitchhiking, crawling. We've got vodka.
We have got vodka, which buys lots of favours in this part of the world.
The car remains here, but the adventure continues.
Well, the adventure continues.
Yeah. We have not finished it. We're going to bloody Ulaanbaatar. How we have to go, but we're going there.
Yes. And so once again, this is the second time for me and Ed, but the first time for the French/Spanish team. A big sort-out takes place where we decide what we can physically carry to continue our journey and what we're going to have to dump here at the Russian-Mongolian border. Just finished packing up. Gwen, what present are you going to leave for our lovely friends at the Mongolian border who won't let us take our car into their country?
Okay, because these guys are so nice and everything, we decided to leave them a present. A present from the Lake Baikal.
Oh.
It's a beautiful fish. It smells really good already. And I'm looking forward to know what it's going to smell in 2 weeks when they come and get the car. Guys, that's for you.
Oh, they're going to be so happy. And so we arrive into Mongolia, officially clearing all the border procedures on foot. And as you can see on the back of Mr. Edward Charles Baker in front of me, gloriously he arrives with the rear number plate of the Burgundy Beast strapped to his back. So in some ways it could be argued, unofficially, that the Burgundy Beast has made it into Mongolia.
We're in Mongolia.
Cheers. 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 Salut.
My luggage here, and some haggling going on here as we attempt to try and negotiate a fee to get the Mongolian A-Team van to take us on the 350 kilometre journey to Ulaanbaatar. We're currently seeming to be negotiating a fee of around $100. That's obviously about 50 quid in UK money, which is about a tenner each, which is a bargain, but there seems to be some language barrier going on, and the boys are trying to sort it out, meanwhile sort of looking after the bags. This is the sort of the Mongolian border town. Quite a quiet little place, lots of people trying to get us to change money, but we already did that at the border.
like the British one. Thank you. Hello, is it me you're looking for? As we see, we're hammering on towards Ulaanbaatar. The boys in the front are learning some of the local lingo. Every bloody marriage in a slightly different way.
And after the longest taxi ride any of us had ever been on, we finally arrived very late at night in the Mongolian capital city of Ulaanbaatar.
So we head into downtown Ulaanbaatar. As you can see the Russian influence here. We've got Lenin just up on a big plinth there. Our hotel in the background. We're walking this way into downtown. It's a really sort of developing city here. Oh, this traffic cop is amazing. He's just standing in the middle of it on his little plinth in the middle of the road, blowing his whistle and waving his battered, and everyone just ignores him. It's great. I could stand here for hours watching him. Crossing the road in downtown Ulaanbaatar. Yes. We've discovered that zebra crossings here, as with a lot of places that aren't Britain, don't actually really mean anything. So we've found that the best way is to kind of hang on the shoulder of a local, and because they seem to have a bit more in tune with whether cars are actually going to stop or just mow you down. So here we go. Oncoming traffic here. All right, they seem to think it's all right to go. Let's go. And to safety. So we are at the Mongol Rally office, and Ed is signing to declare that we have officially finished and arrived in Ulaanbaatar. We're told that only 29 of the teams have arrived. Is that right? 29? Yeah. So that makes us about 30th, even though we arrived without a car. Not that it's a race, but hey. And we've got our certificates to prove that we made it.
Our main priority in Ulaanbaatar was to sort out flights home, but we also managed to fit in a visit to the orphanage that we've been raising money for through our trip.
Off we go to be picked up by Eamon, the Irish dude who runs the orphanage.
I've never done anything quite as audacious as the Mongol Rally.
No.
That's a huge challenge.
And this is what it's all about here. It's the children having their lunch. So we're at Genghis Khan International Airport. It's very early in the morning. We're getting ready to fly home. Ed is currently... what are you doing, Ed, in your words?
I'm trying to patch my case together.
So we've been on the plane for about 9 or 10 hours or something now. Coming not too far from landing in Berlin, and although Berlin isn't all the way home, it's kind of where the story ends really, because this is where the two of us go our separate ways. Ed's going to fly on straight home to England. I'm going to spend a couple of days in the German capital paying homage to the place where David Hasselhoff famously united previously divided Germany. So Ed, what have you got to say? What have you learned from this whole thing?
It's been emotional. I've learned that Russia is a country of sort of two sides. There's a really nice side and a really rude side. Kazakhstan's a fantastic place. I think if you put your heart into it, then you can achieve almost anything. I mean, we didn't sort of give up or throw in the towel when our car was trashed, and we did make it. So, what have you learned?
I think we've learned a lot about each other. I mean, we've known each other for years and years, but you're probably the most laid-back man I know. And yet, there's been times when I've obviously seen you stressed, which tells me that what we've achieved and what we've done has been quite monumental. If you've got stressed out, and I just think it's been brilliant, and it's obviously had its ups and downs, but even the downs, there's been nothing that we've not been able to laugh at within hours, if not minutes.
Yeah.
And on that note, should we turn this fucking thing off now?